Simple question for Canes fans out there. You want Nikolaj Ehlers? Do you? Do you want Nikolaj Ehlers? Real simple question, right? Nah, maybe not. And the reason why I say maybe not, coming off of Winnipeg had a great season. He was a part of it. They have a solid roster. He was a part of it, had not the best season of his career this past year, but was nearly a point per game. 69 games, finished with 63 points, 24 goals.
Nice.
There it is. I don't want to disrespect Ehlers here because I do think he is a very good player. I'd be disappointed if he is the big fish addition for the Canes this offseason. It does feel like we're going and right, the free agency doesn't open until next month, July 1. Trades obviously take time for things to come together. I wouldn't expect anything like super soon, but could be crazy. I don't want to disrespect Nikolaj Ehlers. I'd be disappointed simply because I think the Canes have Nikolaj Ehlers. Is that a term? What's the plural of Ehlers? Nikolais. I think they have players like this. He's never had a 30-goal season. He's topped out at 64 points. He's had a couple seasons where he's flirted with a point per game, but never quite gotten there. I don't love that as your big fish. If it's reasonable salary and he's your second or third biggest addition, then okay. Right? Then you're bringing in another good player, a player you can trust, somebody that knocks a bunch of other guys further down the pecking order, and it improves kind of everybody below you on the lineup. I think that's good, but I'm not going to be excited by Ehlers until you tell me one of the other kind of soup du jours has been signed. Right? If you tell me Mitch Marner and Ehlers, I can maybe wrap my mind around that. If you tell me something like Tage Thompson and Ehlers, I can wrap my mind around that. If you tell me there's some other bigger centerpiece and then you're looking to Ehlers to be the side dish, now we can get excited. Elliot Friedman talked about Ehlers and his ability to potentially be available and what his wants and needs might be based on what teams want to go ahead and pay him.
A team that's looking on the wing says, all right, we're not in the Marner game or we don't have a shot at Marner. We're just going right to Ehlers. And as I've said to Ehlers before, I think with him, it's a mixture of he wants to be on a really good team with opportunity. Like Winnipeg is a really good team, but I think the issue around the Jets has always been top line opportunity.
Here's my advice to Ehlers and Ehlers' agent. Wait till Marner signs. I think there are a handful of teams, Canes amongst them, that are in on Marner. Okay? And I think at least one of them might do something foolish after seeing Marner sign elsewhere. And if you have the next or one of the next best wingers on the market after someone is panicking for not getting Marner, that's where you can, right? If you're an agent, your goal is to get your client overpaid, right? That's where you can get a little bit of an overpay. Which is, I think, part of the reason why I maybe wouldn't be the most excited for an Ehlers signing until I see something else bigger happening. Because, multiple insiders have said that, matter of fact, we'll play Elliot Friedman here for in a second. Multiple insiders have said that the Hurricanes are definitely going to be going after Mitch Marner. To have all of that come out and then not end up with Marner but end up with Ehlers feels very much like you missed on your first option and ended up with your third or fourth. You settled, right? And that's, for better or worse, not going to get the fan base excited. Here's Friedman on the Canes definitely going after Marner.
I think they absolutely want to be in the Marner game. No question about it. Zero doubt. I know some of his teammates have suspected, Leaf teammates have suspected that Marner's going to go west, but that doesn't mean you don't try.
Doesn't mean you don't try. West, what does that mean? Vegas?
Vegas has been mentioned quite a bit with Mitch Marner as well. Some people were floating around Anaheim possibly. I don't see that at all.
Anaheim. See, both of those, I just don't think it's as like ready-made puzzle fit as the Canes. But either way, the all-in nature, it seems, on Marner for the Canes does make other wingers outside of other like superstar wingers feel kind of secondary. Feel like, oh, we missed on Marner, so here, yeah, sure, let's talk to your client, and that's not how you love it. Also, if you're gonna go winger as one of your big purchases, one of your big resource expenditures, right? Whether you're sending picks and players and prospects in a trade, or whether you're using a fat percentage of your cap, if you're gonna go winger, I think you should be top shelf. I think you should be, at the premium end. Because if you're gonna settle for a center. Please settle for a center, because that's more of a need. Dennis, you've I don't even know if you've said it on air as much as you've said it off air, but the Canes are kind of bloated with middle six wingers.
They are. I've said it on air. They're stacked with middle six wingers.
So you can get by there a little bit. I think you need centers, right? Especially if you move on from Kotkaniemi, which everybody seems to be very aggressive in doing or in wanting to do. So, like, if you're going to go Marner, I get it, right? If you're going to go for a winger like a Gensel or a Mikko Rantanen, right? Swings you've taken in the past, and they are that kind of a difference maker, I'm with it, right? I'm good. But if you're not going to get your number one choices, if you're not going to get the super duper stars, if you're not going to get the Marner or whoever your dream winger is, Robertson, if you're not going to get your dream, I think you then pepper the field with centers rather than going for guys like Ehlers. Go all in for Tage Thompson, right? Go all in for one of those guys rather than settling for your third or fourth choice at winger. That's kind of where I'm at right now. And be ready for the roller coaster of Mitch Marner. I don't know. It could be him. There's some people, and I didn't know this because I don't pay attention to Toronto a ton. He might have some Natchez in him. And what I mean by that is people seem to think that his dad is making a lot of decisions and that he maybe speaks cryptically with organizations and things and has certain goals that he wants for himself maybe that he values highly in his priorities. At least that's how some Toronto fans talk about him. Okay. The free agency period for Mitch Marner may be fairly drama-filled. So don't settle until you know Mitch isn't coming to Carolina because he may just like the drama of it all, right? I guess, and this is, by the way, Toronto is scorned right now, especially because he exercised his no-trade clause at the no-movement clause at the deadline, and now he's obviously not going to re-sign with Toronto, which bums them out because they're like, you could have at least helped us get something back at the deadline rather than leaving for nothing now. So they're a bit scorned. So consider the source. Take it with a grain of salt. Toronto fans seem to think he's the kind of guy that, like, if he were committing in college football to a school, he would put on the rival's hat first, then throw it to the side. Then he would put on it the hat of his, somebody else's favorite. Then he'd throw it to the side. Then he'd stand up and take off the hoodie, and it would have one team. And then he'd rip that off like he's Cam Newton, and it would have the Superman, and the cape would actually be the school that he's committing to. Like, he likes the drama of it all. So be ready for the roundup. Elliot Friedman here on Mitch Marner. May not sign on July 1st. He may take a little bit of a tour to a bunch of different cities.
It sounds like there's the possibility, and again, there's still 2.5 weeks to go here, so who knows where this is all going to end up. But it sounds like the possibility that exists that this may not be a July 1st thing, that Marner's choice could be to set up Zoom or, if teams want, in-person meetings on July 1st or right after, and then maybe he goes and visits one or two places.
The visits, if it takes a while, the hard part about free agency is, Like maybe the Canes are actually at a huge advantage here amongst the others with big free agency stockpiles or cap space. $14 million is not easy. And if that's the assumed price for Mitch Marner, there's going to be a bunch of teams that can't make moves if they think they're in the Mitch Marner race until Mitch Marner makes a decision. So, right, like I said earlier, it does feel like this NHL offseason is very much in the Braveheart move. Like, hold, right? Like every fan base, especially the Canes, are ready for like reactions to big moves. And did we get the guy? It might even hit July 1st and everybody's still like, hold. Because until the big dominoes make their decisions, a lot of the smaller moves can't happen because teams have to keep cap space open. The Canes, even if you're earmarking $14 million for Marner, can still go spend like $14 million, which maybe allows them to steal a couple guys early in free agency before the big dominoes start to fall.
There's a lot that's going to be at play here in the next couple of weeks. Do you make a trade between now and July 1st? Mm-hmm. That's going to impact what you're going to do once July 1st actually hits. I mean, there's so much that's at play.
We were talking about it off air. If Marner does want to go to Vegas and Vegas wants him, that might have to be some kind of a sign-in trade because Vegas has a tough cap situation. They might need to offload some to make it possible. Would Toronto do a solid / would there be enough coming in return from Vegas to make it worth their while? It becomes very, very confusing.
I think if Carolina can get their 2026 third-round pick back from the Washington Capitals, that was part of the Evgeny Kuznetsov trade, then they can use that now that they have their own third-round pick back. Now they can go offer sheet Matty Nyes from Toronto. Take him instead.
You wanted Matty Nyes for a long time, man.
I do. I want Matty Nyes. But until they get their third-round pick back from Washington, they can't really offer sheet him unless that offer sheet is of $11.7 million or more per year.
And then it's $1 billion first-round picks, right?
That's 4 first-round picks over the next 5 years, which they have, obviously, because then you obviously have the 2 that you picked up from Dallas, which helps soften that blow.
It's a lot of first-round picks.
That's basically you're giving 4 first-round picks for a guy.
For the right to pay them a boatload of money.
Yeah, now granted, Toronto can match that offer sheet and it's all for nothing, but still, it's a possibility.
Offer sheets are a fun little side project to think about.
I am for more offer sheets being signed in the NHL.
They don't happen that often, but they are really fun to think about. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan.
Matty Nyes and Tage Thompson make it happen, Eric Tulsky.
Both of them. That's what you want.
Of course.
Both. I'm kind of coming around on Tage, but the issue is I want Robertson, and Tage would also, they'd both require a ton of trade capital. You kind of have to go, you have to go like one in free agency and then one in trade, and they'd both be trades. So I think I'm still Robertson over Thompson, but I do the center aspect. I could be talked into it.